The Illuminati, a secret society so powerful, so elusive, that some say they control everything: governments, economies, even history itself. From world wars to stock market crashes, whispers of their influence lurk in the shadows. Some believe they're an elite cabal of the ultra-rich, orchestrating global events from behind a velvet curtain. Others say they're something more. Not human. Something like lizards. But hey, that depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. The truth is, the Illuminati did exist. In fact, there have been several groups throughout history that bore the name. But are they the all-powerful puppet masters we've been warned about? Or is this just another conspiracy born from paranoia and fear? Get ready, because we're about to break down 10 of the biggest myths about the Illuminati. And trust me, some of them are wilder than you can imagine. Before we dive in, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because knowledge is power, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Number 10. The Illuminati is full of politicians and aliens. Type any celebrity's name with Illuminati into Google, and you'll find wild claims that they're part of a secret world-controlling cult. But the truth? The original Illuminati had 0 A-listers, no pop stars, no politicians, and definitely no aliens. That's not to say they didn't have notable members. Adolf Freiherr Knigge, a social etiquette expert, was one of their leaders. Other rumored members included philosopher Friedrich Jacobi, poet Friedrich Leopold, and astronomer Johann Bode, the guy who named Uranus. So where did the idea of celebrity Illuminati come from? Surprisingly, Playboy magazine. In the 1960s, editors Robert Anton Wilson and Kerry Thornley planted fake letters about a secret society controlling the world, just for fun. They even wrote a satirical book, The Illuminatus Trilogy, claiming the Illuminati was run by celebrities and aliens from Mars. But somewhere along the way, the joke stopped being funny. People believed it. And today, what started as a prank in a men's magazine has become one of the most elaborate conspiracy theories ever. The Illuminati are immensely powerful. The Illuminati are often imagined as an unstoppable force, shadowy figures manipulating everything. But the reality? The first Illuminati weren't all-powerful puppet masters. They were persecuted. The Alumbrados, the original group associated with the name, didn't control the world. They could barely control their own fate. Their radical spiritual beliefs quickly put them on the radar of the Spanish Inquisition, which issued 3 edicts against them in 1568, 1574, and 1623. Followers faced brutal crackdowns, imprisonment, and public floggings. Take Fernando Mendez, a 17th-century Seville priest and devoted Alumbrado. He preached like a man possessed, roaring through his sermons as if he were already a saint in heaven. But his ideas were controversial, to say the least. His followers, mostly women, would strip naked, dancing in ecstasy, claiming they were overcome by divine love. Some say Mendez even demanded women expose themselves to him as a form of penance. Before the Inquisition could punish him, Mendez died. But many of his fellow Alumbrados weren't so lucky. So, were the Illuminati ever an all-powerful, untouchable force? Far from it. Their real story is one of rebellion, persecution, and, frankly, some pretty wild behavior. Number 8. The Illuminati is a secret underground organization. Ask any conspiracy theorist, and they'll paint a chilling picture. The Illuminati, an elite group of shadowy figures manipulating world events from the depths of secrecy. Hidden bunkers, secret handshakes, coded messages in plain sight. But what if I told you that the first Illuminati weren't lurking in the dark at all? Known as the Alumbrados, they emerged in 15th-century Spain, openly spreading their mystical beliefs. Inspired by Christian Gnosticism and Egyptian Hermeticism, they believed that by purifying their souls, they could literally communicate with the Holy Spirit. But here's the wild part. Once they reached spiritual perfection, they claimed they could no longer sin. That meant they could break religious rules, ignore church duties, and even indulge in wild, immoral acts without consequences. No wonder their ideas spread so fast. So, was the Illuminati ever a secret underground society? Not in the way conspiracy theories suggest, but their real history is just as fascinating. Number 7. Illuminati members are all vastly wealthy and part of the global elite. Contrary to popular belief, the Illuminati were not all rich and powerful. There were plenty who came from modest backgrounds. One of the earliest was Maria de Santo Domingo, a peasant girl from south of Salamanca. Maria signed up to the Dominican order when she was a teenager. Before long, she became known as a religious mystic who could speak directly to Jesus and the Virgin Mary. Maria earned the name La Beata de Piedrahita, the Holy Woman of Piedrahita. Among her followers were reputable leaders, including King Ferdinand II, who invited her to his court. She told her followers that she could speak to Jesus, that she was Jesus, and that she was married to him all at once. Sometimes she would fall into a trance for hours on end. She would stretch her arms and legs, claiming she was dissolving in the arms of Christ. This made her a target of the Spanish Inquisition. Maria was accused of heresy and secretly worshipping the devil. The Inquisition held a series of trials, but because of her connections to royalty, they took no action. She was cleared in 1510 and died a year later. Number 6. The Illuminati are based across the world. Conspiracy theorists often claim that the Illuminati are a global evil spread out across the globe. They say you can find their pyramid insignia everywhere, from the world of celebrity to the US dollar bill. In reality, the Illuminati only existed in certain parts of Western and Central Europe. The most famous movement started in the late 18th century in the German state of Bavaria. On May Day 1776, Professor Adam Weishaupt started a secret underground group at the University of Ingolstadt. He called them the Perfectibilists. Weishaupt and his colleagues were fed up with the control that religion had over their lives. Instead, they wanted to create a society that was built around reason and logic. It was an idea that was born out of the Enlightenment period. In Europe during the 18th century, people started to turn away from the teachings of the church and moved towards rational thought. One of the most widely held beliefs of the period was that the church and that state should be separated. This idea was particularly popular among the Bavarian Illuminati. Even their name, Illuminati, is the plural of illuminatus, the Latin word for enlightened. The beliefs of the Bavarian Illuminati were the stark opposite of those of the Spanish Illuminati. The only thing they both had in common was their name, a sign that both groups believed that they were particularly enlightened. Number 5. The Illuminati contains a vast network of members. Another fallacy. The Illuminati were never a huge organization. When it began in 1776, it was mostly made up of Weishaupt and his students. Over time, the group stretched out to include members from other German cities. At its height, the society contained men from as far as France, Denmark, Italy, and Poland. But even then, it had at most 2,000 members. Nig helped to expand the group into several Masonic lodges. Unlike the Spanish Alumbrados, the Bavarian Illuminati were almost all wealthy men with a good education. Each member had a code name so that they could write to each other in secret. These names were often connected to ancient Greek and Rome. So Weishaupt became known as Spartacus, whereas Nigge took the name Philo. Nigge also helped set up the group's communication lines. Number 4. The Illuminati masterminded the French Revolution. In 1789, France witnessed one of the bloodiest uprisings in history. Peasants across the country fought back against what they described as the oppression of the nobility and the bourgeoisie. They stormed the Bastille, forcing King Louis XVI to concede power and abolishing feudalism once and for all. The French Revolution sent shockwaves across Europe. Politicians were taken aback by the events in Paris. The British ruling class started to worry about the prospect of a workers' rebellion in their country. They feared that the spirit of the revolution could make its way across the Channel, and that they would be ousted from power. So the ruling class began spreading rumors that someone else was pulling the strings. British nobility needed a scapegoat, and they found one in a dying German cult. The Illuminati, who by then had almost ceased to exist, were accused of orchestrating the entire thing. Contrary to the way they were painted by British politicians, Weishaupt's group never advocated violence. They believed that, by educating people, they could change society over time. Number 3. The Illuminati are part of a wider Jewish conspiracy. Not all conspiracy theories are harmless fun. Some have been twisted into dangerous lies, none more so than the false link between the Illuminati and a so-called Jewish conspiracy. The Illuminati never had any connection to Judaism. The original group was made up of unorthodox Christians with radical spiritual beliefs. Later, under Adam Weishaupt, the Bavarian Illuminati opposed the influence of organized religion, but Judaism was never part of their agenda. So where did this toxic myth come from? It all traces back to the early 20th century and a notorious document, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. This fake manuscript claimed that Jewish leaders had teamed up with Freemasons in 1897 to bring down Christian civilization and establish a new world order. It was pure fabrication, but people believed it. The protocols spread like wildfire, translated into multiple languages. Even Henry Ford promoted them in his newspaper, spreading the lie in the U.S. But in 1921, journalist Philip Graves exposed the truth. The protocols were plagiarized from an old French satire. They were, quite literally, fake news. Yet, despite being debunked over a century ago, this conspiracy still lingers, fueling dangerous anti-Semitic propaganda. The Illuminati myth is fascinating, but when it's used to spread hate, it's more than just a conspiracy. It's a problem. Number 2. The Illuminati still exists. Some conspiracy theorists believe the Illuminati are still out there manipulating global events in an attempt to create a new world order. This isn't true. The Illuminati came to an end in the mid-1780s. In 1785, the Bavarian government created a law banning all secret societies. By that point, the movement was already beginning to fall apart. The relationship between Nigge and Weishaupt had become increasingly tense, and, in the end, Nigge had left the society. Another former member had sent a damning letter to the Grand Duchess of Bavaria, revealing hidden secrets about the group, while also spreading false rumors. The law imposed by Bavarian officials was the final nail in the Illuminati's coffin. Some members were locked up for their role in the order. Others had to flee their homes. Weishaupt found himself kicked out of his job at the university and banished from Bavaria. He spent the remainder of his life lecturing in philosophy at the University of Göttingen. Number 1. The Illuminati are communists. Some say the Illuminati are secret communists, working behind the scenes to dismantle capitalism. But this idea didn't exist until after World War II, when Senator Joseph McCarthy launched his infamous purges, accusing government officials of being communists or even gay. These became known as the Red and Lavender Scares. But the real Illuminati? They were nothing like the revolutionaries McCarthy feared. Almost all of them were wealthy elites who thrived under capitalism. Unlike Marx and Engels, they didn't believe in violent revolution or the destruction of class society. Adam Weishaupt and his followers weren't fighting for communism. They wanted secular government, free from religious influence. And rather than force change through rebellion, they believed in slow reform through education and enlightenment. So, were the Illuminati plotting a communist takeover? Not even close. But like all good conspiracies, the truth got twisted into something much more dramatic. From secret world domination to alien overlords, the Illuminati has become one of the most twisted and exaggerated conspiracy theories of all time. The truth? They were never all-powerful, never underground masterminds, and definitely not reptilian overlords. What started as a small, radical movement was reshaped by myths, hoaxes, and paranoia. But in the end, maybe the real power of the Illuminati isn't in controlling the world. It's in how easily people believe they do. What do you think? Let's talk in the comments.